Banks should prepare now to develop and execute their digital asset strategies across their.
That's where XRP fits into the settlement, and that's why Yellow is building with institutions in mind in the new agent economy, and with building with XRP settlement because it's the best settlement system out there in the world.
Alrighty, everybody, what is going on? Welcome back to another CYPRX video breakdown. In today's video, we're going to be going over some groundbreaking documents from the GFTN, the Boston Consulting Group, listening to some panel discussions, individual representatives from the DTCC, people that work at Yellow, telling you all what's going on with the future of the financial ecosystem, the massive developments that are unfolding, and how now is the time to pay very close attention, to act, especially in this environment in which we're currently operating in, and the massive distractions that are taking shape. For example, just showing you all what the masses are distracted towards and paying, the most attention towards. We know, of course, the whole entire debacle between the US and Iran, where just yesterday, June 10th, 2026, we saw bearish price action in the digital asset ecosystem and fear come in. And of course, see headlines like this: negotiations between the US and Iran have completely collapsed. Then, following the news headlines, 24 hours later, the markets rallied after Trump canceled the scheduled strikes and bombings against Iran and a Truth Social report. And I want to show you all, just real fast, doing a quick TA update before we get into the document, showing you all that all this is a distraction, why it's so important to be a part of a community that has access to this dark pool information. So you all can see the dates. June 9th, before all of this started going on just a few days ago. So June 9th, we had highlighted this $1.11 range when price dropped straight down into it to the absolute pip. And that is where the most local buying has happened on XRP. So the dark pools have been defended at $1.11. And if we come up to the analysis, I mentioned to you all that $1.11 is the last threshold before we see prices go much lower on XRP. And if we come over to the most recent announcement, when the market rallied today, look how crazy this is. June 11th, 2026, 12:28 p.m. So that's almost 12:30 p.m. on Truth Social Media, Donald Trump's page right here, right? And if we come over to the charts and we look at XRP's most recent price action, y'all, this is insanity. Look how accurate the dark pools are that our software highlights. And it's not to brag or boast, it's just to, again, show you all the level of accuracy in this community with inside CYPRX. Right at 12:30, here's the 12:30 a.m. candlestick when Donald Trump announced this today. Okay, June 11th, 2026, 12:28 p.m., so 2 minutes before 12:30. Look at the 12:30 candle. Right at the dark pool, buyers initiated orders, buy volume came in, and we saw a nice little spike up to about $1.15 on XRP. Literally right at 12:30 when Donald Trump posted that is exactly when we had the reaction, the market maker reaction from the $1.11 dark pool. Now, real fast, just taking a look at XRP's price action before we get into some interesting fundamental developments. Right now on XRP, I am still expecting a rollover down into 91 cents if we cannot sustainably break above $1.18. So in a bullish scenario that does not result in price action coming down into 91 cents, we need to see right now the $1.05 threshold hold with a bullish recovery, the $1.11 threshold hold with a bullish recovery above 18 cents, or we need to see a sustainable break and retest above 18 cents, turning that level into support. And then I will start to ixnay the possibility of a fall down into 91 cents. If we cannot sustainably break above the 18-cent threshold, even if we do see buyers make a formal attempt to come up into this area, if we cannot see a sustainable hold above $1.18, that is going to open up the door for a much deeper correction on XRP, coming down into our next bearish target of roughly around 91 cents. So right now I'm watching $1.11 and $1.18 very, very intentfully. You guys now have my overall analysis. Above $1.18, that ixnays the bearish thesis. Anything below $1.18, as long as price action remains below $1.18 and we cannot see sustainable break above that level, that opens the door for a possible rollover down into 91 cents if sentiment cannot improve. Coming back here to the distraction aspect of this, why I think all of this is a massive distraction. Okay, we come up here to this event. This is taking shape the 23rd to the 25th of June. Y'all check this out in Zurich, Switzerland, Point Zero Forum Summit. And if we come down here, all right, you can obviously, of course, see all the speakers, see all the representatives. You have major central bankers, individual representatives from Ripple, Circle, okay? You have Studer Alderaldi from Ripple. You got this gentleman here from Circle. Now, looking at who's going to be attending, all right, the attending organizations, every jurisdiction right now in the world has a representative coming to this event. So how are we, right, at least to the public eye, at war with each other, right? But then behind the scenes, all the central bankers of every single major jurisdiction and all the governments all over the world are going to be sitting in a room, sipping cocktails and having lunch and dinner, talking about the future financial system. This is what we should be paying attention to as a civilization, as a population, where literally everything is changing right before our very eyes. You have all the world's largest organizations, fintech groups, financial organizations, right, sitting in one establishment to talk about the future of finance. You have nonprofit organizations, you have literally the biggest regulators in the world all coming together at one event. Meanwhile, chaos, according to the mainstream, is taking shape, right? Manipulating the markets up and down with emotion. But in reality, behind the scenes, what are they talking about? Let's take a look, okay? Tokenization 101 for finance, what's being built, how and why it matters. Tokenization of equities, how the stock market gets rebuilt on chain. Tokenization, stablecoins, and DeFi, how institutions are going on chain. Not if institutions, how institutions are going on chain, right? And so these are the conversations we all should be paying very close attention to. So I thought that I'd bring that to everybody's attention, right? We got the GFTN forum coming up in just a few days, 23rd to the 25th of June. So in about 2 weeks, we'll be paying very close attention to any announcements and any commentary that comes out of this event inside the private CYPRX Discord. Coming over here, we have a panel discussion that was just released from the DTCC. Listen to what Nadine says to you all.
We're all here today because I think we all believe that we're an inflection point in capital markets. Tokenization is no longer a concept or a pilot. We're finally moving away from proof of concepts to proof statements. Tokenization is reshaping how value moves across the financial system. But the real transformation will not come from digital assets alone. It will come from unlocking how those assets are mobilized, from efficiency, liquidity, and the economic value they will generate. The next phase of this evolution is about how collateral moves, how quickly it can be deployed, and how effectively it can respond to an increasingly real-time, always-on market. The question is no longer, can we tokenize an asset? I think we've answered that loud and clear. But it's how we can unlock the full utility seamlessly, securely, and at scale across the global ecosystem.
And I just want to highlight that key word, unlocking utility. All right. Now, this is all taking shape at a very rapid pace, and the banks are being warned. So if you've made it this far, strap in, because this is going to be a portion of the video you're not going to want to miss. This just dropped from the BCG, right? The Boston Consulting Group, one of the big 4 top consulting firms. You can see right on their LinkedIn profile just a day ago. And it's this document that talks about a strategic playbook for banks in collaboration with Anchorage Digital, mentioning here that the market is maturing after having built the institutional infrastructure, and how this report examines the 4 key opportunity areas for banks and how they should be defining their digital asset strategy now. So I thought that you all would really enjoy this one. This one was such a great read. BCG, Anchorage Digital, this just came out June 2026, a joint report titled A Digital Asset Strategic Playbook for Banks. Reading all my thorough highlights for you all before I play this last video clip says policy clarity, maturing infrastructure, and institutional adoption are now converging. This report frames where banks should participate, partner, integrate, or monitor as the digital asset landscape moves from experimentation to scale. And this coexists with exactly what the DTCC representative Nadine just said to you all, that we're about to see real utility at scale. As we scroll down, First highlighted says, for financial institutions, the question is no longer whether digital assets merit attention, but which developments are strategically relevant under what conditions and at what pace. The answer's not uniform across institutions. They depend on business models, regulatory context, client demand, economics, and risk appetite. Digital assets are becoming part of the mainstream strategic discussion in financial services. The speed and scale of digital asset adoption is rapidly growing, supported by a set of tipping points across policy, regulation, technology infrastructure, customer adoption, and interoperability. First bullet point says, policy and regulation have seen a significant development and clarity over the last few years in the US and other jurisdictions. Tech has matured rapidly, enabling scalable and compliant bank-grade infrastructure. We see, i.e. Boston Consulting Group, see an adoption of digital assets by corporate and institutional customers and banks increasingly exploring launching internal and client-facing products and services leveraging distributed ledger tech. Customer adoption remains niche today, but a combination of stronger economics, trusted access through regulated institutions, familiar channels, and stronger value propositions could rapidly unlock greater adoption across retail, wealth, corporate, and institutional clients. Then down here, this is where it gets interesting. Okay, this is a freaking call to action if you've ever seen one. Digital assets and tokenization have a significant potential for value creation for banks through new revenue pools, efficiency opportunities, operational and financial resources, and defense against competition. Banks should prepare now to develop and execute their digital asset strategies across the following 4 areas: crypto brokerage and crypto back-end lending, tokenized money, tokenized funds, and tokenized real-world assets. So this is 110% confirmation that a major consulting firm is telling banks they need to prepare now. So as a retail investor, with the markets down the way that they are, again, not financial advice, hint, hint, they tell you before these things unfold. Now, if we recall, just yesterday, I believe it was, we had this announcement. Yep, June 10th, 2026. Let's check this out. Mastercard launches Agent Pay for machines to unlock super fast, always-on payments. Now, we went over this because we know Mastercard envisions a future where business creates services for AI agents to buy, use, and operate at machine speed. And we know that these agents are not going to be transacting with, cash. They're not going to be transacting with the old traditional rails. They're going to be transacting on blockchain rails. And we know, if we come right down here, who was in collaboration with this, it says Mastercard is collaborating with a broad set of participants. And one of those participants is Ripple. Now, to wrap all this up for you all, if you all do not know this gentleman over here, his name is Alexis S. I'm not going to butcher his last name. His last name is a little bit tricky. But nonetheless, right now, he is the captain at Yellow Network, which is a layer 3 mesh network protocol set to disrupt the DeFi trading landscape, leveraging state channels, and it enables real-time collateral-based trading without counterparty risk. And he is also the co-founder of GSR. GSR, obviously, of course, a major market maker, liquidity provider, providing liquidity solutions for digital assets since 2013. And they were one of the first market makers in this space, which is huge via the confirmation that you're about to get right now. So this video just dropped. Again, shout out to the CYPRX researchers for this one. I want you to listen to what this gentleman here says from Yellow. And considering Mastercard's recent announcement where they partner with Ripple for AI agents, this dude right here goes on to say that they are going to use XRP for the settlement mechanism between agent-to-agent transactions. Take a second and listen.
Trust, which is what AI agents need. And when we speak about AI agents, according to McKinsey, a 5 trillion economy for payments. And just last week, I asked I gave the green line to acquire an EMI license to have our Yellow agents, AI agents, have credit card numbers. And but that's the retail side. The bigger side is the 15 trillion piece of the pie.
Yeah, institutions aren't going to be using credit cards to settle between each other. They're going to be using a much more powerful settlement, and that's where XRP fits into the settlement, and that's why Yellow is building with institutions in mind in the new agent economy, and building with XRP settlement because it's the best settlement system out there in the world.
So we will let Visa, Mastercard handle the retail, but we'll push XRP for institutional settlement. And with this escrow mechanism, we're going to show it. We don't have a lot of time, but we have a fantastic team. with, of course, me, coming from GSR, one of the first market makers for Ripple, but mainly.
Wow. Huge confirmation right there from a former representative at GSR, first market maker in the digital asset, one of the first market makers in the digital asset ecosystem. Gentleman now working at Yellow, right? Confirming that they're going to be using XRP for settlement. Massive developments ongoing, happening behind the scenes. Now is not the time to be distracted. Now is the time to be part of a like-minded community that is always tapped in, giving fresh updates in terms of institutional information and order flow on a consistent basis. If you guys want access to the most recent dark pools and delta zones on any given asset classes or tradable pairs, you guys can always head over to CYPRXtrading.com and tap in with us. We give updated dark pools and deltas on almost every single crypto in the crypto ecosystem, along with futures, stocks, FX, and commodities. You can find all of that inside our Discord. If you guys want access to any of the research that we do inside this community, is all organized inside the CYPRX research section. That panel discussion that you all just watched is inside the crypto-specific crypto conferences. Come in here, take a look, all the panel discussions, all the documents that people should be reading in the space from the DTCC, the BIS, the IMF, all these large 3-letter, 4-letter agencies that are always dropping gems are all found inside the private CYPRX Discord. We'd love to have you guys and gals on the team. Remember, none of this is financial advice. I'm not telling you all to go out there and buy XRP, especially considering some of the documents that we went over today, where major consulting firms are telling banks to prepare now. I'm just here to show you all that the devil's in the details, and they tell you all this stuff before it happens. Prepare now. Many blessings. Be cognizant. Be aware out there, and I'll see you all in the next video breakdown.